My next question comes courtesy of Benjamin, who would like to know, is it fair to call a movie overrated? A common discussion within film circles is that of overrated movies. You'll see lists of people giving their contrarian opinions on how such and such film is praised too much, or people will loudly proclaim that they hate a movie that most people love. That's when the word overrated will be uttered, which is a fancy way of saying that the general public is way too generous towards a certain movie and they shouldn't love it as much as they do. Now, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with the general consensus, or disliking a film that has otherwise been well received, or even liking it but not loving it with the same adoration as other folks. The problem with the word overrated is it comes across as high and mighty. I think it's quite easy to decipher why certain work appeal to many people without being condescending about it. I thought Black Panther was a solid and entertaining superhero film with some interesting themes about coming to grips with one's past. However, a lot more people absolutely loved and connected with Black Panther and saw it as a filmmaking triumph in the superhero genre. And I absolutely understand why. With the award season underway, it's already grabbed a few nominations that suggest it could receive a Best Picture nomination. With this, I've now seen some gripes online about how Black Panther is overrated and not Best Picture worthy. While I would not include the film on my own Best Picture ballot, if Oscar voters consider it one of the best movies of 2018, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them voting for it. More controversially, Mad Max Fury Road underwhelmed me to the point I even found it kind of boring. Sorry. But I also understand why people were enraptured in its spectacular stunts and wild chase through this post-apocalyptic desert. I don't consider Fury Road overrated. It just was not, to my personal taste, the way it was with many other people. But it's wonderful the way so many viewers embrace what was admittedly a rather unconventional action film in many respects. The overrated discussion really came to a head last year with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Yep, I'm opening that can of worms again. The film was widely acclaimed by critics and even a good amount of audience members. However, there were also those who disliked it to the point of claiming it soured them on any future Star Wars movies. Now, I've actually read many valid criticisms of The Last Jedi that did not use the term overrated, and calmly explained why the latest Skywalker adventure did not work for them. Unfortunately, they're overpowered by the louder crowd who proclaimed it overrated, and the critics and other audience members just weren't seeing the real problems with the movie. And over a year later, they're still going on about this. Can't you find something else to talk about? There was a different, critically acclaimed science fiction sequel from last year that I found myself disappointed with, and that was Blade Runner 2049. Did I call it overrated? Nope. I expressed my thoughts on it the day after watching it, and then found other movies I would rather discuss. Before this video, I don't even remember the last time I mentioned Blade Runner 2049. When someone says something is overrated, it just comes across them saying, nobody should love this movie or book or television series I don't care for. It's especially annoying when the Rotten Tomatoes rating, which is just a calculated number based on a like-dislike ratio, is brought up and saying 97%, really, it's not that good. With that said, I do think the term underrated is acceptable. Saying something is underrated is merely a way of expressing that maybe a certain movie did not get a fair shake and deserves a reevaluation. And conversations about underrated movies tend to be more pleasant, as it leads to people expressing their love for something and finding enjoyment in aspects of a film that did not quite gel with others. While overrated just seems to bring forth contempt for the masses. Thank you for your question, Benjamin.